Dalvin Cook, the former Vikings running back, is now available to anyone who would sign him. He's been available for 11 days now, officially. Remember, he was going to be released on a Friday. It was announced on a Thursday. One last chance to trade for him. It didn't happen. He was cut, and he's looking for a new team. He talked to Adam Schefter recently. He was on Rich Eisen's show last week, getting the word out as to what he's looking for. More on that in a couple of minutes. Yesterday, someone with one of the teams sent me the amended complaint from the lawsuit that was initially filed against Cook back in November of 2021. Remember that one? It happened on a Tuesday night, came up out of the blue, and it was couched by Schefter as Cook is defending himself and he's being extorted. And Schefter got dragged for that because he ignored the allegations that were being made against Cook. Well, since then, what's happened? Because there hasn't been much coverage of it. Now, I became aware of it yesterday because I think somebody out there is maybe trying to soften up Dalvin Cook's expectations and is reminding the media of the existence of this litigation. But here's the reality, because I got several court orders last night, public records, documents that are out there that give us an idea of where the case stands. Here's what Cook did. He got sued ultimately for assault, battery, and false imprisonment by a former member of the military named Gracelyn Trimble. She sued in her own name. There's no Jane Doe. There's no secrecy here. Her name is out there for everyone to see. And again, these are all from public records. So she sues Cook. Cook sues her back for invasion of privacy and defamation. Then Cook sues Gracelyn Trimble and her lawyers in a separate lawsuit, basically alleging defamation as part of this scheme to force him to settle, to leak this information to the media aimed at making him look bad. Basically, you have to settle with us. If you don't, we're going to leak this complaint to the media. They're going to make you look bad. Cook didn't settle. They followed through on the threat. There was an order from May 1 finding that Cook has made a sufficient showing to pursue punitive damages against Gracelyn Trimble and her lawyers in this separate lawsuit. And in Minnesota, apparently, you have to come forward with enough evidence to convince the court that a jury would be able to find that there was wrongdoing of a sufficient level to justify punitive damages. And quick legal education here. Punitive damages are a payment that goes over and above whatever is necessary to compensate someone. And the idea is, if the defendant acted with a sufficient level of disregard or intentional malice aimed at someone else, you want to punish that person, and you also want the punishment to be sufficiently significant that it warns others not to engage in similar behavior. That this isn't just some accident. This isn't negligence. Somebody didn't have their head up their ass as they were driving their car and caused an accident. This is someone deliberately ramming the car into someone else, or being so oblivious to what's going on that they were reckless and they disregarded their rights as relates to others. Now, obviously, car accident is just one way a civil lawsuit can arise. There is defamation, where somebody says something about someone that they know or should know isn't true. And that's what Cook was able to do. He made a sufficient showing that Gracelyn Trimble and her lawyers had evidence at their disposal that allowed them to know, or they should have known, that there were serious questions about the credibility, the accuracy, the veracity of the claims she was making against Dalvin Cook. And this is significant because this never happens. And I always counseled anyone who got sued to resist the temptation to sue back, because most people who get sued, first of all, they say it's a frivolous lawsuit because that's the definition of a frivolous lawsuit. It's any lawsuit filed against me. The other definition, or the other reaction, when a lawsuit is filed is, how can I sue them back? How can I put them through this worry, this stress, this expense they're putting me through? And usually you don't have anything as the person who's been sued. Usually the best approach is just focus on defending yourself. But Cook was able to turn the tables here. Now, look, it's all going to be determined by court. There are still plenty of steps to go. But for now, Cook has been able to amend his complaint to seek punitive damages against Gracelyn Trimble and her lawyers. He's made that showing of sufficient evidence to support a jury finding that punitive damages would be appropriate. That's significant. There is an order that I've seen compelling the lawyers to turn over information about how they came up with their settlement demand for Dalvin Cook, any internal communications among the lawyers about their media strategy. That's a big deal. Now, that's pending on appeal, but that's a big deal because that kind of cracks the code on exactly what happened, and it lays it all bare for Cook to be able to prove that something was going on that shouldn't have happened. And also, Cook has won an effort to have his claims against Graceland Trimble for invasion of privacy and defamation thrown out of court. It's called a motion for summary judgment. That was just last week that a judge found that those claims that Cook has made against Trimble for invasion of privacy and defamation should proceed to trial. And it's all going to be something that shakes out at trial. But it is rare, it is unusual, it is highly unconventional for a defendant, number one, to fight back this way, and number two, to actually secure some victories in court. He may not ultimately win, but he's kind of got them on the ropes here, and we'll see how it all plays out. And look, I think that Cook and his representation probably would have preferred that none of this come up now. But the reality is, I had people at a time when Cook is available to be signed by anyone, people stirring this up, probably to get Cook to drop his demands. So if we're going to tell the story, we need to tell the whole story. And the whole story consists of Cook engaging in this effort to basically clear his name while pursuing justice against those who came at him without, in his view, sufficient evidence to support the claim. We'll see how it plays out. Hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching PFT on YouTube. Hit subscribe for the latest news and analysis from Pro Football Talk.